Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Frank Balintfi, and I am the leader of the technical support team at TEL. Today's topic is the ecoLINE Pro, which is a communicator for intruder alarm systems. The most important points of the presentation will be the key functions of the device, the product models, and we'll talk about the hardware, and then we'll go through the mobile application and the programming as well. Let me share my screen and let's see which are the application areas for this product. This is a communicator that provides a solution for alarm systems to send reports to a remote monitoring station over the internet. At the same time, it provides solution for users to receive notifications about up to all events of their alarm system. The device can be used with any alarm control panel, which has a built-in landline communicator and supports the Ademco contact ID protocol. We have three product models: the 2G, 3G, and 4G model. Basically, there is no difference in functions between the three models. The difference is only the built-in modem, which is a 2G, 3G, or 4G modem. The 2G modem can work only on the 2G network, the 3G modem can work on the 2G and 3G network, and the 4G modem can work on all networks, the 2G, 3G, and 4G as well. The device has a USB port, which can be used for local programming and firmware update. Has an antenna connector where you can connect the GSM antenna, has a SIM card bay where you can install the SIM card, has a status LED which shows the device status, has a serial port, which is an RS-232 transparent port, which you can use to send and receive data over the internet. On the system connector, you can find the pins for the power supply. You can connect 12 to 24 volts DC. You can find the line output, which is a standard simulated line of 48 volts. This should be connected to the line input of the alarm control panel. It also has 4 contact inputs for generating custom alarms. The inputs can be activated by connecting the input to V-. So the contact input is considered between the given input and V-, which can be a normally open contact or a normally closed contact. You can configure that in the device. And last, it has a relay output, which can be controlled from the mobile application. The COM pin is internally connected to the V-, so it's not a dry contact. It will supply a minus on the out pin when the relay is activated. About the installation, you can install the device in the metal housing of the alarm control panel, if it fits there. And the antenna should be anyway mounted outside the metal box, because inside the box there will not be GSM signal. The mobile application is available for Android and for iOS in the Apple Store and on Google Play. You can download the application for free. Well, let's see which are the key functions of the device. Well, the goal was to develop an easy-to-use device with as few settings as possible for a quick installation that covers most use cases and demands. Most processes are therefore automated in the system. The ecoLINE Pro is a communicator with a built-in phone line emulator and controllable inputs. The device can send reports to the monitoring station to up to 2 IP addresses using the CFDC09, the Telmon, or the text protocol. The last two are our custom protocols, which work with our receivers only. The DC09 protocol works with any receiver which supports this standard. The device can also report the state of the 4 configurable contact inputs, the monitoring station, and to registered mobile devices at the same time. Thereby, the 4 inputs can be used to send custom messages. You can configure contact ID event codes for each input with the option of setting the partition and the zone number as well. We will see that in the programming software later. As I have mentioned, the device has one relay output that can be controlled using the mobile application. This is used to arm and disarm the connected alarm control panel. You can do a full arm or arm one partition since there is only one relay available. Besides forwarding the contacted alarm system's messages to the monitoring station, the device can send push messages to users about each report. The installer or administrator at the remote monitoring station can enable or disable user notifications by category. Only the enabled notification types will be available for users in the mobile application. We will see that in the mobile application later. The system can be used with up to 20 mobile devices, which can be registered easily using a QR code. The device is equipped with a transparent serial port, which you can use to program the connected alarm system remotely over the internet. Depending on the alarm system, a level driver adapter might be needed. This level driver adapter is available in TEL's product range, here in the accessories section. This is it. So it has an RS-232 port, a TTL port. You can see that on the other side. And also a USB port. And it can interface between RS-232 and TTL, or TTL and USB, or RS-232 and USB. You can set that using the jumpers on the device. Also, special cables are available for 2 alarm control panels, for the Paradox and Premier, and also for the DSC. The DSC does not require the level driver interface. It can be directly connected to the serial port of the ecoLINE, because it uses also a RS-232 port. In the product downloads, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can find the actual manual, the software, and the firmware as well. We have one firmware for programming over USB and one for uploading through either USB and IP using the programming software. The other one is a standalone application which loads the firmware quickly through USB. Now let me share my phone screen. And let me show you the alarm control panel which I am using for this demo. So this is the alarm control panel itself with a battery and with a power supply designed by TEL, which you can use instead of the transformer usually used for the alarm control panel, since this power supply has a 16 volts AC output as well, which can supply the alarm control panel, and has the DC output for our TEL devices. You can also connect the battery to the power supply. So normally the battery is connected through the power supply to the alarm control panel, which means that the alarm control panel can manage the charging. When an AC loss occurs, in that case, the power supply will switch the battery automatically also to our device and to the system as well. Now, here you can see the level driver interface, which is necessary for this type of alarm control panel, with the special cable connected to the alarm control panel and with the serial port connected to the ecoLINE. We have also connected the phone line input of the alarm control panel to the line output of the ecoLINE, which enables the alarm control panel to dial and communicate through the ecoLINE Pro. And the output is also connected to one of the inputs of the alarm control panel, which is programmed as a T-switch and can arm and disarm the partition. And we have also some switches here, which I can use to generate alarms and arm and disarm the partition also from here. Okay. The mobile application is called ecoLINE. There's this one here on the right side. The key function of the mobile application is arming and disarming the system, which you can do by long pressing the button in the middle and receiving notifications through push messages. Now, so to arm and disarm the system, you just have to long press this button here, which will activate the relay output of the device and will arm the partition. Now we have to wait until the alarm control panel dials and communicates the closing report. Thereafter, you can see that our button turns red, so it shows that the partition is armed. The same for disarming, just long press the button and wait until the alarm system communicates the opening. For receiving alarms, of course, we have to arm the system unless we have a 24-hour zone, which we can activate at any time. And then let's make a fire alarm. Let me show you at the same time our receiver's interface. So you can see that the alarm is also received here. This is the user account ID 2112, which we are expecting. Now you see the last one was a key switch close, which we have done through the application. Okay, so now a fire alarm will go off. And we have to wait until the alarm control panel communicates, and there it is. At the monitoring station, you can see fire alarm, partition 1, zone 3, and here we have the alarm, which we can check here in the event logs. Let me turn off the alarm system in the meantime. Okay, so if we want to check the details of the alarm, we can tap on the information button on the right side, and this will open the details. So we can see that it was a fire alarm, the timestamp, the full event code with the user account ID, the contact ID identifier, and the event code itself, which is new event 110, partition 1, zone 3. Also here, partition 1 and zone 3. Okay, so now the system is disarmed. If we arm the system from the keypad, we can receive the report about that as well. If it is enabled in the settings of the application, which you can do here by tapping on the settings icon in the top right corner, and tap Setup Notifications. So we can see that arming and disarming events are disabled. We can enable if we want and save. The events are split in categories. So there are arming and disarming events, alarm events, other alarm events. So alarm events refer to burglar alarm, fire alarm, and any type of alarm event. Other alarm events refer to other events of the alarm system, which are, for example, troubles, and any other events which are not alarm events. Input events refer to events generated by the inputs of the device. And incoming SMS refers to receiving the SMS messages sent to the number of the SIM card installed in the ecoLINE. So the ecoLINE can transform the incoming SMS messages to push notifications and send to users for whom this option is enabled in the settings. But as you can see, I can't enable this option here. It's because this option has not been enabled by the administrator when the device has been programmed. We will see that in the software of the device soon. Okay, so for example, we can receive trouble events. So let's say we generate an AC loss. We have to wait 1 minute for that, but we will see that the event will be received. In the meantime, I will generate a burglar alarm event. Sorry, that was the fire alarm event. And this is the burglar alarm event. Okay, a few seconds left. And there it is. Alarm and alarm restore event. And the same at the monitoring station. Burglar alarm, partition 1, zone 4. Let's check this in the logs. And yes, that's a burglar alarm, partition 1, zone 4. And the restore event for the same. And the trouble event has also been received, which is the AC loss event. And the same on the receiver. Let's see how we can program this device. The device has a programming software for Windows platform. You can connect to the device through USB and over the internet. You have 3 connection types for that, connecting through the TextMVP server, the Telmon receiver, which are both our servers and receivers, and connecting through the cloud. Now we will connect first through USB. In order to connect to the device, you have to enter the device password. There are 2 passwords, an administrator and an installer password. The admin password is 1, 2, 3, and 4 by default. So you have to enter the password, hit Enter key, or press the Connect button in the top left corner. Now we are connected through USB. That requires a USB AB cable between the PC and the device. We have the super admin level access, and we are connected. And you can see that the disconnect button becomes available. You can change the super admin password here in this section. And you can add an installer password here. Installer can access only settings which are enabled by the super admin. So let's say the super admin works for the monitoring station, while the installer just takes the device and installs at the scene, and the super admin at the monitoring station can enable and disable access to settings for the installer. How can he do that? There is a functions and permissions menu, and in this menu, you can enable and disable different settings categories. Still in this menu, we have the cloud usage option. This should be enabled in order to use the device with the mobile application and in order to be able to connect to the device remotely over the cloud. So if this option is disabled, you can't register the mobile application and can't use the device with the mobile application. If it is enabled, the device will connect to the cloud and will stay connected continuously using supervision messages. And therefore, this will use about 12 megabytes per month in order to keep continuous connection. There are two more options here, the SIM card lock and disable factory reset. If you want to lock the device with the given SIM card, just enable this setting. In this case, the device will register the ICC ID of the given SIM card and will not work with any other SIM card until this option is disabled. If the disable factory reset option is enabled, the device can't be reset to factory default until you disable this option here. Otherwise, you can do a factory reset here in the connection type menu by pressing on this button here. Now, the device register helps you when you want to connect to the device remotely. You can register all your devices here in this menu by pressing on the Add New button. If the device is connected through USB and the SIM card is also installed, so it can connect to the cloud and to the receivers, the software will automatically read the parameters for the given type of connection. So you see that for the cloud connection, the device identifier was needed, which has been read automatically. For the Telmon connection, we have to configure the address and port number of the Telmon. We can do that because the device is now connected to a Telmon receiver. Okay, and the device ID is also required. You see that this option also turned green, so it is configured. And you can add a name to the device. And also, if you want, you can enter the SIM card identifier and the device phone number if this information is necessary or required later. Okay, so this one has been registered. Now we go back to the connection type menu, disconnect from USB, and let's try to connect through the cloud. For this, we have to select the device from the list or enter the device ID, but now as we have registered the device, we can select it. Now you see that the Telmon and the cloud options are configured. The device password is also necessary, which is now 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then click on the connect button. The program will read the settings automatically from the device, so you just have to change the settings if you want and then write them back into the device. You see, we are connected with Super Level Admin Access, and we can change any settings and then write the change settings into the device. Okay, let's disconnect and let's try to connect through the receiver. Select the same. The password is unchanged. Just have to click connect. Now here we have to wait a little bit because the program can connect to the device when the device sends a supervision message or any other report to the receiver. Because after sending the message, the device will close the TCP connection, so there is no connection continuously between the device and the receiver. Now, if I remember well, the supervision message is configured to 60 seconds, so we have to wait at most 60 seconds for the connection. Let's check which was the latest message. We can do that here in the devices menu. So this is our device, and the latest message was 10:38:15, and now it's 10:38:34. So it should connect. For some reason, it could not connect, but it will connect upon the next message. I hope it was 60 seconds. I'm not sure about that. Let me check this again. 10 seconds left. It should be 60 because it's listed here. Okay, so it seems that there is some technical problem with the receiver. Maybe my colleagues have updated the receiver in the meantime. And therefore we can't connect for some reason. Let's continue through USB then. Let's see what settings we have here in the device. You have to configure the APN and, if required, the APN username and password. The APN is the access point name necessary for the device to connect to the mobile internet. You can get the APN and, if required, the username and password from the mobile service provider where you have purchased the SIM card. If you want to log the SIM card with a PIN code, you have to enable the PIN code request using a mobile phone on the SIM card, and then enter the PIN code here in this section. If you are using a multi-SIM SIM card, you can select the operator here in this section. First, you have to start a search. This will restart the device, and then the available operators will be listed here in this drop-down menu. Thereafter, you can select the preferred operator. In the network selection menu, you can lock the device on 3G, 4G, or 2G. Of course, depending on the model which you are using. If it's a 3G model, you will not have the 4G option here. This is used in case that you have problems with the network. So if one of the network is more powerful and the other is weaker, and then the other one is more powerful and this one is weaker, the device will try to find the best network. And if there is a problem with this, there might cause problems in communication. So in that case, you can select the preferred network and you can lock the device on that given network. In this section, you can configure the user ID, which is used to send the reports to the monitoring station. Also from the inputs, so about events generated by the inputs. And we'll also replace the user account ID sent by the alarm control panel with this user account ID. So no matter what user account ID is configured in the alarm system, this one will be used for reporting events to the monitoring station. In the next section, you can configure the two receivers. You can add a name to the receiver, and you can select the protocol, which can be the DC09, the TEX, or the Talmon. The IP address is also required, the port number, and the supervision message interval. The time zone stands for the timestamp sent by the receiver. So whether the timestamp is sent in UTC or local time. This is necessary for setting the system time in the device. For the DC09 protocol, you can use CI user account ID, which will be used to send the supervision messages to the given receiver. But the alarm messages will still be sent with the user account ID configured here. If you want to encrypt the communication between the receiver and the ecoLINE, you can use an EAS key, but in this case, you have to use the same in the receiver in order to be able to decrypt the messages sent by the device. Send push messages in a send each message in a new session is required by some IP receivers. So in case that your IP receiver requires this option, just enable it. Okay, I will read the settings again because I don't want to do any changes here. In this section, you can configure the transparent serial port, the baud rate, the parity, and the stop bits. This should be set according to the application you are using it for. So for example, in our case, we are using an alarm control panel which uses this setting. So 9600, none, and 1. In the region settings, you can configure the location, the time zone where the device has been installed. This is also necessary for setting the system time. In the input section, you can see the settings for the 4 inputs. If you double click on one of the inputs, it will open the input settings, or if you select it and click on the edit key, it will do the same. You can select the input type, normally open or normally close. You can set the sensitivity for new event and restore. And you can configure the event code, partition, and zone number for the given input. For configuring the event code, you have a help here. It's an event code search tool where you can search by event name, or on the right side by event code as well. If you want to send reports about that input to the monitoring station as well, you have to enable reporting to monitoring station. Otherwise, the given input will only generate push messages. For the output, you can configure a number of control modes. You can use a monostable control mode, which will activate the relay for the configured period of time, which is now 1 second, but also milliseconds and minutes are available. You can turn the output on, the output off. You can do a state change or even configure a pulse series. 3 pulse series are available. You can configure how long the output should stay on, how long it should stay off thereafter, how many times to repeat this, and how much to wait between repetitions. In the mobile devices menu, you can configure the event categories, which will be enabled for the users to select in the mobile application. So as you see, forwarding incoming SMS messages is disabled. And that's why, so let me share my phone again. Okay, so that's why incoming SMS is not available in the settings of the mobile application because it is disabled by administrator. Here in this section, you can see the registered mobile applications and you can see the options enabled by the given user in the mobile app. This here is the registration password used for registering the mobile application. And now let's do a registration. Let's see how simple it is. First, we have to delete the mobile application, sorry, the device registration. And for registering the device, we have to scan the QR code. We have to enter our name. And the registration password, which you can change here in this section in the programming software. Next, add a name to the device. If you want, you can also change the picture. You can use the photo library, or you can take a picture using the camera about the building or the house. And ready. Okay. Now we see that we have 4 options enabled. So all of the options will be enabled by default, and the given user can disable the ones he doesn't need. If we read the settings now, we will see that 4 options are enabled for this user. Still in the mobile application, if you want, you can change the registration password. You also have a QR code here. You can open it by tapping on this icon. You can use this to share the registration with your family, so you don't have to open the programming software and read the settings. You can share it from the mobile application as well. In the menu on the right side, you can add a new device if you want. You can configure the application, the language of the interface. You can enable the application protection, which can be a password protection or biometric identification. This is used for protecting the application against unauthorized use. And in the About menu, you have information about the manufacturer and the application identifier. In the status monitoring menu, you can find the status of the device, such as the device identifier, the firmware version, device name, the SIM identifier of the SIM card. You can copy these information using the notes icon on the right side. The simulated phone line status, now it is idle, but if we generate an alarm, it will change to hook off, which is in use. And here on the right side, you can see the logs of the device, which are automatically stored in the folder, which you can open here in the About menu by clicking on the data folder link. And here you have the logs folder. The logs are saved with the date, with a current date in the file name. There is a remoter which stands for the software logs and the module which stands for the device logs. This is used for troubleshooting. So if there is a problem with the device, we used to ask you to send us the logs. You can also see here the supply voltage level of the device. And then in the counters, the data traffic. This is counted from the last restart of the device. The device restarts once each day. The device uptime, GSM uptime, IP uptime, and the current system time. And in the network section, you can find the cloud connection status. You can see that it is connected to the cloud. The data connection type, the operator, the GSM signal level, IP address of the SIM card, modem status, and the number of actual connections. And in the inputs and outputs section, you can find the status of the inputs and the output and the reporting channels, which are the two receivers configured in the device. Here in the event monitoring menu, you can download the event logs from the device, last 10, last 20, or all. Just select one option and then click on the button. And here you can see the logs from the device. On the right side, you can find the reports to the IP addresses, to the two receivers. So we see that everything was sent to IP number 1 and nothing was sent to IP number 2 because that's a backup receiver. So the device will only send reports to this receiver if it fails to send to the first one, the primary one. Here you can also find the full event codes of the messages and also the event names and categories. If you turn this on, it will turn into an online event log. So if you generate an alarm, let's say a fire alarm, it will show you when the given report was received from the alarm control panel and how it is sent to the receivers. Also, you can see the push notifications here in this section, in the actions section, for each message, for which, of course, a push notification has been configured. So we can see that all are successful. Okay. With this button, you can stop pending notifications if it is necessary for some reason. So if you have lots of reports which you don't want to send, but is still in progress, you can click on this button and it will stop sending. And here you can save the logs to file. In the settings menu, you can change the appearance of the application. There are a number of templates which you can choose from. and you can enable extended logging for troubleshooting. This refers to the software log, so if there is a problem with the software, you can enable this, and you will have much more detailed logs about the software. Okay, one more thing left. I wanted you to show the remote programming. How can we do that? We have client software for that, which is called the Remote Serial Client. You can download this from our website. So let's choose the English language. Okay, this software will connect to the ecoLINE Pro device remotely over the internet, and will create a virtual serial port. All we have to do is enter the device identifier, which we can find in the programming software here. That's the device ID. I will copy this to clipboard now and enter here. This is done over the cloud, so the cloud usage should be enabled in order to use this feature. And create port. As soon as we press this button, the virtual port COM6 will be created, and the device, the software will connect to the device. We can see that the authentication was successful, so we are connected over the internet device. Now we can start the programming software of the alarm control system. Of course, here we have to select the same port in the settings, so we have to use COM6, and the baud rate should be in accordance with the requirements of the given alarm control panel, so it's 9600 baud. Okay, click connect. And we are connected to the alarm control panel over the internet. And yes, okay, we can read the settings from the alarm control panel.